My name is John Droney, and I've been to this country since 1954. And I became a member of this society about a week or 2 weeks after I arrived. At the insistence of my two brothers who preceded me here. They said, you got to become a member like everybody else does of the Irish American Home Society. So that's who I am, and I have many good memories of my time here in this country. At the time, it was in Park Street in Hartford, at the Lyric Hall, as we've come to call it, because there was a movie theater in there as well. And I was taken there by my brothers the same day that I arrived in the U.S. They picked me up in New York, and I didn't know where I was going, no idea. And they said, we're going to the club. First memories were, I had no idea what the concept of club was coming from Ireland. So going to the club, I didn't know what a club was. And I got to understand that the membership in the club is something that the arriving Irish would ordinarily do, become a member. I saw that the club was something that was established by the members. I found that out. And it is owned by the membership. In the sense that they don't own shares in the stock or something like that. By becoming a member, you get a partial ownership, in a sense, of the club. So it becomes your club as well as everybody else's. And I probably felt that I probably had an obligation to participate in the maintenance in some fashion of the building. The building at that time was Grove Street in Hartford. And it was only then that there was some discussion going on about moving out of where we were in Grove Street and would build and move to a new home, which we're in right now. There was a member here who had an interest in running for president. And I was well acquainted with him. His name was Frank Gallagher. And Frank was he was a policeman. I think he was maybe retired. I'm not sure. And he wanted to run for president, and he was looking for somebody to run as his vice president. So I got approached by him, and I was acquainted with him through the club. And I thought about it for a while, and it occurred to me that, I have no knowledge of what the functions of the president might be. So how can I run as the vice president if I don't know what I'm running for? So I asked around and asked him and some others, what's expected of me? And anyways, it was a case of, well, you put in your time as vice president, and eventually you're in line to run as president at a later time. The unwritten rule, and it's still unwritten, that if you run for one term, which is 1 year, that you're expected to run for a second year. No obligation, but that's the way it had been. And after Frank Gallagher put in his 1 year, he decided he was not going to run again. So that left me having to make a decision. Am I going to run or not? So I decided yes. I always had things in the back of my mind. I have to go back to the boss that I had at work back in Ireland. And his background said that you have to manage, and you manage by what you establish ahead of you in your mind. So anyways, I had to think of what I have said that I'm going to accomplish. And you don't know, because this is a whole new world I'm in. Anyways, one of the things that stuck in my mind was in Ireland, every house has a fireplace. Period. You have to have it. And the doorway going was decided, I'm sure by the board, that there are two doorways coming in. We don't need to close up one. And I thought that's a good opportunity to build in a fireplace. And I mentioned that to the board, and they thought that was a good idea. And I stated my case. We don't have a fireplace like every house in Ireland has. Why not? And that was one of the first things. And then that entranceway out here, going down to the basement, go down to the bar. That was something else. That the only entrance from up here was a single stairway going down. And I thought, that is not good enough for this place. And I did get to my good friend Jim Golden, who's gone to his rewards, about opening up the side of the building over here and having a multi-step entrance going right down to the bar. There were several people that had mentioned that we need to have a better entrance going into the building, and that's the result of it. Then another thing was that part of the home life in Ireland was in the homes, some of them anyway, especially ours, music and dancing. So I approached the board about using the club to establish the set dancing that we still have today. It began on Sunday evenings, and some of the people that I got acquainted with, they decided that's a good idea. Let's go down and learn how to do some of the Irish set dances. So that came on the scene very quickly, and anyways, we ended up having a group on Sunday nights. Then the group got so big, if you will, that we moved to Wednesday and moved upstairs. A fesh was something that I was not familiar with, and of course it is step dancing competition, mostly for younger people, children on up. And I had never seen one of those back in Ireland. So a friend of mine, Tom Bowie, who was the one who ran the fesh locally at the time, and Jack O'Keefe was in there with him, who was the president at that time. And I thought this was something brand new, and totally cultural. So because of that, I got involved with them and helped them a little bit, as much as I could, setting up and knocking back down and so on what is needed to run the fish. So that was something that I kind of took on to very quickly because of the culture involved. And after Tom Bowie, at the time, the chairman, he quit, he retired. And I took over at his request because I'd been involved with him, so I had a good understanding of how the fish went and what one had to do as far as actually putting on a fish. The setup, the hiring of judges, the hiring of musicians. That was something that I had seen with Tom Bowie, and I just gravitated to it. A lot of what I've learned was things that I learned after I got here. Like I'd never been to a fish in Ireland. And suddenly here I am, after Tom Bowie retired, and I'm running the thing. You're all familiar with the festival that we used to have back some years ago. And I was asked if I'd be the chairman of the festival tent, the cultural tent. I had again decided that yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to head up the cultural tent at the festival. And in so doing, I turned back to some documents that I have and still have regarding the Book of Kells and other such documents, and copied a lot of those and put them on display in the cultural tent. And the topics, I picked several topics that I exploded into display boards at the festival tent. And some of those, like with the Book of Kells itself, and some of the beautiful pages from that. Also, another topic I included was the history of the harp, which is Ireland's national symbol. I also included a topic of the history of Ireland, first millennium and then second millennium. Let me see if I can, for a second, put together a poem learned in school, I think, if I still remember. And here we go with a poem. Tá the enimage fast gun armage, tá journa culture lore, nil trocht der kilkashna or chilok, sneak for cling or bra. And there's more to that. Let me preface what I just said with the fact that Ireland was covered with woods, mostly oak, and the English cut down the oak by their thousands to build their ships when they were a sea-going power, mostly in the north. And the city of Derry, the Irish for Derry is Dera. Oh. So what I said was, what will we do going forward? The end of the timber is down, and there's no no talk of Kilcosh, an area in Ireland. No talk of Kilcosh, no Chidach, or their family. And the Central Klinga will never hear the sounds of the family again. And it's a well-known poem, Kilcosh.